A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant ruling, the Supreme Court has unanimously blocked a lawsuit filed by the Mexican government against major U.S. gun manufacturers, marking a pivotal moment for the firearms industry. The case, known as Smith Wesson Brands Incorporated v. Estados Unidos Mexicanos, revolved around Mexico's attempt to hold American gun makers accountable for the violence perpetrated by drug cartels using their firearms. The court's decision reinforces the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, PLCA, a federal law that provides a legal shield for gun manufacturers against civil lawsuits stemming from the misuse of their products. Justice Elena Kagan, delivering the opinion for the court, emphasized that Mexico's arguments did not sufficiently demonstrate that gun manufacturers criminally aided and abetted unlawful sales to straw purchasers, who then trafficked these firearms across the U.S.-Mexico border. The justices noted that the lawsuit failed to establish a plausible connection between the actions of the gun makers and the violence inflicted by cartels in Mexico. Mexico's lawsuit, initiated in 2021, sought $10 billion in damages and claimed that American gun manufacturers knowingly sold firearms to individuals who were not legitimate buyers, thereby facilitating the flow of weapons to drug cartels. The Mexican government argued that this illegal trade, often referred to as the Iron River, had resulted in extensive damages, including the loss of lives and significant costs incurred by the Mexican military due to cartel violence. Despite the setback, David Pucino, legal director at the Giffords Law Center, stated that the Supreme Court's decision does not prevent gun violence prevention groups from holding accountable those who violate laws. He emphasized that victims of gun industry misconduct still have avenues for justice. The PLCA, enacted by Congress in 2005 with bipartisan support, was designed to protect gun manufacturers from legal repercussions related to the criminal misuse of their products. In this ruling, the Supreme Court reaffirmed the immunity granted to gun makers under this law, with Justice Kagan noting that the exceptions to the PLCA, such as the predicate exception, were not applicable in this case. The case had previously seen a federal district court dismiss Mexico's lawsuit in 2022, citing PLCA's unequivocal barring of such claims. However, in early 2024, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the First Circuit revived the lawsuit, suggesting that it fell under the predicate exception, which allows for lawsuits if gun makers knowingly broke the law. The Supreme Court's reversal of the First Circuit's ruling emphasized that Mexico's claims stretched the bounds of legal precedent. Justice Kagan pointed out that the lawsuit failed to establish that gun manufacturers were treating rogue dealers the same as law-abiding ones, arguing that manufacturers are not accomplices to retailers who violate the law. Concurring opinions from Justices Clarence Thomas and Ketanji Brown Jackson further clarified the court's stance, suggesting that future cases should carefully examine what constitutes a violation of law that could allow lawsuits to bypass the PLCA's protections. Justice Jackson noted that the lawsuit attempted to transform the courts into regulators of the gun industry, a role that should be reserved for legislative bodies. As the case unfolded, 6 of the 8 manufacturers named in the lawsuit were dismissed by the district court, leaving Smith Wesson and Interstate Arms as the remaining defendants. The Supreme Court's ruling effectively ends Mexico's legal pursuit against these gun makers, reinforcing the legal framework that shields the firearms industry from civil liability in such instances. This decision has far-reaching implications for the ongoing debate about gun control and the accountability of gun manufacturers. With the court siding with the gun industry, advocates for gun violence prevention will need to explore alternative strategies to address the rampant issue of firearm trafficking and its consequences in both the U.S. and Mexico. As the landscape of gun legislation continues to evolve, the impact of this ruling will undoubtedly be felt in future legal battles surrounding the firearms industry and its role in public safety. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.